Hello everyone, myself Bismi P. Cherian, Assistant Professor at Suresh Ganvi High University. Today I'm going to discuss about the antihypertensive drugs. Okay, in the medicinal chemistry too, there is antihypertensive drugs in your syllabus. So we will discuss in today's topic this antihypertensive drugs. Learning objective of this topic is this lesson will help the students to understand the mechanism of action, uses of the antihypertensive agents. Learning outcomes. After this lesson, students will be able to describe the SCR mechanism of action and the uses of the antihypertensive agents. So, antihypertensive, before going to this topic, we have to know what is blood pressure. Okay, what is blood pressure? We have to know. So, the blood pressure is the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels. Okay, so we have to know the what is blood pressure. So, blood pressure is the pressure. Okay, blood pressure is the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels. Okay, so this pressure is exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels. So that is the blood pressure. Okay, so blood pressure is the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessel. Hypertension is defined as the condition in which systolic blood pressure, okay, systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure, okay, diastolic blood pressure that exceed above 140/90 mmHg. Okay, so the hypertension is the condition in which the systolic blood pressure as well as the diastolic blood pressure that exceeds above 140/90 mmHg, and our normal blood pressure is 120/80 mmHg. Okay, so this is our 120/80 mmHg is the normal blood pressure. And the what is the hypertension? So hypertension is the condition in which the systolic blood pressure as well as the diastolic blood pressure that exceeds above 140/90. Okay, till 140/90, that is the normal blood pressure. Okay, we will count as a normal blood pressure. If the blood pressure exceeds above this 140/90 mmHg, that is now that condition is known as hypertension. Okay, so we have used the systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure. Okay, so we have to know what is the systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure. Okay, so systolic blood pressure is the blood pressure or the pressure in blood vessels when heart beats. Okay, when heart beats, at that time some pressure is generated, so that is known as systolic blood pressure. Okay, and the systolic blood pressure is always this 120 is the normal systolic blood pressure. Okay, so the blood pressure, systolic blood pressure is the pressure when heart beats. Okay, when heart beats, at that time one pressure is generated, that is known as systolic blood pressure, whereas the diastolic blood pressure is the pressure when heart rest. Okay, when the heart rest between the two heartbeat. Okay, between the two heartbeat there is a rest time. At that rest time one pressure is generated, and that is known as diastolic blood pressure. Okay, and the diastolic blood pressure, normal diastolic blood pressure is the 80 mmHg. Okay, so this is the systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure. Okay, and the what is hypertension? Hypertension is the condition in which the systolic as well as the diastolic blood pressure exceeds above 140/90 mmHg, and our normal blood pressure is 120/80 mmHg. 120 is the systolic blood pressure, 80 is the diastolic blood pressure, and the systolic blood pressure is the pressure generated when heart beats. Okay, when the heart beats, at that time when pressure is generated, that is known as systolic blood pressure, that always higher than the diastolic blood pressure. So here normal blood pressure 120 is the systolic blood pressure. Okay, and diastolic blood pressure is the pressure that generates when the heart take rest, and when the heart take rest between two heartbeat. Okay, between two heartbeat there is a little a little rest time for the heart. Okay, and at that time one pressure is generated, that is known as diastolic blood pressure, that is the 80 mmHg. Okay, so everybody understood it, what is blood pressure, what is hypertension, and what is diastolic blood pressure and the systolic blood pressure, and the what is the normal range of the blood pressure. Okay, what is the normal blood pressure? So our normal blood pressure should always 120 bar 80 mmHg. Okay, and when the blood pressure exceeds 1 foot above 140 bar 90 mmHg, that condition is known as hypertension. Okay, that condition is known as hypertension. And the blood pressure is the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels. Okay, in the blood vessel there is always a blood, or there is always blood. Okay, so the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessel. Okay, on the wall of the blood vessel. So that is the blood pressure. The normal blood pressure is 120 by 80 mmHg. And when the hypertension condition happens, when the normal or when the blood pressure exceeds above 140 bar 90 mmHg, that condition is known as hypertension. Okay, so this is all about blood pressure, hypertension, diastolic blood pressure, systolic blood pressure, and normal blood pressure. Okay. Next is why this antihypertensive, or why this hypertension goes in the patient. Okay, so it is not a single disease. Okay, so this hypertension is not a single disease. It results from defect in the hemodynamic and the biochemical function in the body. Okay, so this hypertension is not a single disease. Okay, this is not a single disease. This hypertension results from the defect in the hemodynamic and biochemical function in the body. Okay, so if there is any defect in the hemodynamic and the biochemical function in the body, at that time this hypertension causes. But this is not a single disease. Okay, the agent that lower the blood pressure are called antihypertensive agents. So our main topic is antihypertensive agent. Okay, so the drug that lower the blood pressure. Okay, the drug that lower the blood pressure is known as antihypertensive drugs. Okay, and this agent reduces the cardiac output, reduces the total peripheral resistance without correcting the cause. Okay, so hypertension, okay, it's this hypertension's cause is unknown. Okay, we don't know how this hypertension occurs. So what this agent, this antihypertensive agent, what they do, they reduce the cardiac output and reduce the total peripheral resistance. Okay, when the cardiac output and the total peripheral resistance reduces, automatically the blood pressure also reduces. Okay, but these agents are not correcting the cause. Okay, because the cause is unknown. So the antihypertensive agents reduces the cardiac output, reduces the total peripheral resistance without correcting the cause. The hypertensions are divided into two major divisions. Okay, according to the etiology. So the hypertension are divided into two major divisions according to the etiology. So we have done the blood pressure. What is the blood pressure? What is hypertension? What is diastolic blood pressure? What is this systolic blood pressure? Okay, so you have to learn these all definitions. This blood pressure is the pressure that exerted by the blood on the wall of the blood vessels. Okay, so that is the definition of the blood pressure. Next, the hypertension. What is hypertension? So the hypertension is defined as, okay, or this is the condition. Hypertension is the condition in which the diastolic blood pressure and the systolic blood pressure increases above or exceeds above 140 bar 90 mmHg. Okay, then if from that, what is systolic blood pressure? Okay, so the systolic blood pressure is the pressure generated at the time of the heartbeat. Okay, when the heart beats, one pressure is generated, that is known as systolic blood pressure, and that is 120. 120 is the systolic blood pressure. Okay, and what is diastolic blood pressure? So the diastolic blood pressure is the pressure that generated when heart stops, or sorry, when heart stops, that is not correct. When heart take rest, okay, that pressure at that time one pressure is generated, that is known as diastolic blood pressure. When heart rest, when heart take rest between two heartbeat, between, if you notice, between two heartbeat there is a gap, and that gap is known as resting period of the heart. Okay, if you notice, between the two heartbeat, okay, between the two heartbeat there is a little bit gap, and that gap is known as the resting period of the heart. And at that time, at the resting period of the heart, at that time when pressure is generated, that is known as diastolic blood pressure, that is 80 mmHg. Okay, 80 Hg. Okay, so this is all about. Okay, so this hypertension is not a single disease, and it results, how this hypertension goes in our body, okay, occurs in our body. So the hypertension results from defect in hemodynamic and the biochemical function in the body. Okay, so when the hemodynamic and the biochemical function defects inside our body, at that time this hypertension occur. Okay, that time hypertension occurs inside the body. Okay, so we have to learn the what is antihypertensive agent. So obviously the drug or the agents that lower or that reduces the blood pressure is known as antihypertensive agents. How the antihypertensive agents works? Okay, the antihypertensive agents reduces the cardiac output, total peripheral resistance, okay, also reduced by this anti-hypertensive agents. Okay, but it doesn't correct the cause of the hypertension. Okay, these agent doesn't correct the cause of the hypertension, and the hypertensions are divided into two major division according to the etiology. Okay, so the hypertension is divided into two major division according to the etiology. So let's see what are they. So the first is primary hypertension or the essential hypertension, and second is the secondary hypertension. Okay, so the primary or the essential hypertension, the cause is not known. Okay, the primary and the essential hypertension causes are known. Most common form of the hypertension, the primary hypertension is the most common form of the hypertension. Okay, so but the cause is unknown. The secondary hypertension due to renal, endocrine, and the vascular disorder. Okay, if any renal disorder or any endocrine disorder or the vascular disorder is there inside our body, at that time the secondary hypertension occurs. So the primary hypertension or the essential hypertension and the secondary hypertension. The primary hypertension, the cause is unknown. Okay, cause is unknown, as well as the most common form of the hypertension. Okay, and the secondary hypertension is occur due to the renal disorder, endocrine disorder, and the vascular disorder. Next is classification of the antihypertensive agents. Okay, classification of the antihypertensive agents. So here, first classification is centrally acting agent. Okay, centrally acting agent. These agents centrally acting agent. Okay, so mechanism of action of this centrally acting agent is these agents stimulate alpha 2 receptor. Okay, so centrally acting agents stimulate the alpha 2 receptor in the CNS, because the centrally acting agent, in the name itself, that act on the CNS. Okay, so these agents stimulate the alpha 2 receptor in the CNS and reduces the sympathetic and flow to the cardiac system. Okay, it reduces the sympathetic outflow. Okay, so these agents stimulate the alpha 2 receptor in the CNS and reduces the sympathetic outflow to the cardiovascular system. Okay, cardiovascular systems outflow is also reduced by this centrally acting agent. Okay, and it also reduces the cardiac output, heart rate, and produces the hypertensive antihypertensive effect or hypotensive effect. Okay, so the mechanism of action of the centrally acting agent, these agents directly stimulate the alpha 2 receptors. Okay, they stimulate the alpha 2 receptors and reduces the sympathetic outflow to the cardiac vascular system. Okay, when the alpha 2 receptor stimulates, that reduces the sympathetic outflow to the cardiovascular system. Okay, and it reduces the cardiac output, heart rate, and produces the hypotensive effect, or this causes the pressure to reduce. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of centrally acting agent. Let's see the example of the centrally acting agent, methyl dopa and the clonidine. Okay, methyl dopa and the clonidines are the example of the centrally acting agent. Okay, so here in our syllabus only the clonidine is there, so we have to learn this clonidine only. So look at this structure. This is the structure of the clonidine. Okay, clonidine. So there must be a chloride group, chloride. Okay, clonidine. Okay, so there must be a chloride group. So this is the phenyl group. Okay, phenyl group and the imidazole group. Phenyl group, imidazole group, these two group linked with the amine group. Okay, linked with the amine group. And the benzene ring, in the benzene ring at the first and the third position there are two molecule of the chloride attached to the phenyl group. Okay, so this is the structure of the clonidine. Okay, so one benzene ring, one imidazole ring, that is linked with the amine group. Okay, linked with amine group. So this is the structure of the clonidine, and the chloride atom is present at the first and the third position of the benzene ring. Okay, first and the third position of the benzene ring, the chloride atom is present, and one amino group is there, and this amino group is linked or attached with one imidazole and one 2-chlorophenyl group. Okay, so this is the structure of the clonidine. Next is the mechanism of action of the clonidine. So the main mechanism of action we have learned, directly stimulate the alpha 2 receptor. Okay, so that is the same mechanism of action of this clonidine. Let's see once again. It binds and stimulate the central alpha 2 adrenoreceptor. Okay, so this clonidine binds and directly stimulate the alpha 2 adrenoreceptor. Thus, it decreases the sympathetic outflow to the heart, kidney. Reduction in the sympathetic outflow decreases the peripheral vascular resistance, blood pressure, and the heart rate. So this is the mechanism of action of the clonidine. Okay, so clonidine directly binds and stimulate the alpha 2 receptor, then decreases the outflow, sympathetic outflow to the heart and kidney, and reduction in the sympathetic outflow decreases the peripheral vascular resistance, blood pressure, and the heart rate. Next is uses of this clonidine. Okay, so this clonidine is used alone or with a thiazide derivative. Okay, so thiazide derivative is also the diuretic drug. Okay, thiazide derivative is a diuretic drug. So the diuretic is also given in the combination of the antihypertensive drug. Okay, to treat the antihypertension. So these centrally acting agents are given alone or with the thiazide derivatives for the treatment of the treatment of the treatment of the hypertension. Okay, so next is it is used in the prophylaxis treatment of the migraine. Okay, prophylaxis treatment of the migraine also this drug is used. And next is dysmenorrhea. Okay, so this dysmenorrhea is the condition of means painful menstruation. Okay, painful menstruation is the dysmenorrhea. So to treating that painful menstruation, so this centrally acting agent is used. Okay, cluster headache. Cluster headache. In the treatment of cluster headache also this is used. So it is used in the prophylaxis treatment of the migraine, dysmenorrhea, cluster headache. And it is also used in the management of vasomotor symptoms related to the menopause. Okay, so the vasomotor symptoms are related to the menopause, means in the ladies after the menopause there is some symptoms, means night sweating, okay, sweating in the night, that all the things are coming in the vasomotor symptoms that is related to the menopause. When the menopause occurs in the woman, at that time this vasomotor symptoms happens, and that is also managed vasomotor symptom is also managed with the help of the centrally acting antihypertensive drug. Okay, and next is it is also effective in attention deficit hyperactivity. Okay, hyperactivity disorder. So this it is also used in the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and it is also used topically to reduce the intraocular pressure in the treatment of the glaucoma. Okay, so this drug, this centrally acting blockers or centrally acting agents are used topically also in the treatment of the glaucoma for reducing the intraocular pressure. So the uses of this clonidine is means we have to learn very carefully and very uh, because this is very important. So look at the structure. This is the structure clonidine. One amine group is there that is linked or attached with the 2-chlorodiphenyl and sorry 1,3-dichlorophenyl and imidazole ring. Okay, and this mechanism of action is this bind to the alpha 2 receptor and they stimulate that alpha 2 receptor, and that decreases the sympathetic outflow to the heart, kidney, and reduce the sympathetic outflow, decreases the peripheral vascular resistance, blood pressure, and the heart rate. And the uses of this centrally acting drug or the clonidine is it is used alone or with thiazide to treatment of the hypertension. Okay, so this clonidine is used alone or in the combination of thiazide derivative in the treatment of the hypertension, and it is also used in the treatment of the prophylaxis treatment of the migraine. Okay, in the treatment of the migraine and this dysmenorrhea is the condition of the painful menstruation. To treating the painful menstruation we can use this clonidine drug, and in the treatment of the cluster headache we can use the clonidine drug, and it is used in the management of the vasomotor symptom related to the menopause. So the vasomotor symptom is the symptom that happens after the menopause in the woman. Okay, so the example of the vasomotor symptoms are the night sweating, and all the things are coming under in the category of vasomotor symptoms, that is related to the menopause. And it is also effective in attention deficit hyperactivity disorder also. It is used topically to reduce intraocular pressure in the treatment of the glaucoma. So we have done the first classification. Next is beta adrenergic blocker. So alpha adrenergic blocker we have done, and the example of the alpha adrenergic blocker is clonidine. Second is the beta adrenergic blocker, that is example is timolol, atenolol, propranolol. Only the timolol timolol. Okay, so timolol is the example of this beta adrenergic blocker. I have some problem pronouncing this timolol. Okay, so this timolol is a beta adrenergic antagonist. Okay, timolol is the beta adrenergic antagonist, and the mechanism of action in the name itself, this blocks the beta adrenergic receptor. Okay, timolol sorry, the timolol binds to the beta 1 adrenergic receptor. Okay, so there is a beta 1 and beta 2 receptors are there, and this timolol binds with the beta 1 adrenergic receptor in the heart and the smooth muscle. Okay, and to the beta 2 receptor in the bronchial and the vascular smooth muscle. So this timolol bind with the beta 1 and the beta 2 adrenergic receptor. Okay, so the beta 1 receptor is found in the heart and the smooth muscle, and beta 2 receptor is found in the bronchial and the vascular smooth muscle. Okay, how they bind? By competiting. Okay, by competiting with the adrenergic neurotransmitters like catecholamine. Okay, so this timolol have the competition with the catecholamine, and this catecholamine is a neurotransmitter. Okay, this is a neurotransmitter, and after competing with this catecholamine, this timolol bind with the beta 1 adrenergic receptor in the smooth muscle and the heart, and to the beta 2 receptor in the bronchial and the vascular smooth muscle. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action when this beta 1 adrenergic receptor means when this timolol bind with the beta 2 or beta 1 and beta 2 adrenergic receptor, what happens? The beta receptor decreases the resting and exercising heart rate. Okay, so this decreases the blood pressure. Okay, and decreases the cardiac output, and the systolic and the diastolic blood pressure is also decreases with the help of this timolol. Okay. Okay, so the beta receptor blockers decreases the resting and the exercise heart rate. Okay, when we do the exercise, then at that time heart rate will be increases, and in some cases in the resting period also the heart rate increases. So this beta receptor blockers, they decreases the resting period as well as the exercise period heart rate. Okay, and the cardiac output, uh, and it also decreases the cardiac output, decreases the systolic and the diastolic blood pressure. Systolic and the diastolic blood pressure is also decreases with the help of this beta adrenergic receptor. Okay, so the what this beta adrenergic receptor do, or timolol do? Timolol bind with the beta 1 and beta 2 receptor. Okay, beta 1 is present in the smooth muscle and the heart, and the beta 2 is present in the bronchial and the vascular smooth muscle. Okay, and this timolol have the competition with the catecholamine, and catecholamine is the neurotransmitters. Okay, when these timolol have the competition with the catecholamine, at that time the cardiac output decreases. Okay, cardiac output decreases, resting and the exercise heart rate decreases. Okay, resting and the exercise heart rate decreases, and the systolic and the diastolic blood pressure decreases. Okay, so this is the structure of the timolol. So two rings are there: O, CH2, propane, alcoholic group, amine, then again carbon group, 3-methyl group. Okay, so this is the structure of the timolol. So you have to learn this structure. Next is the uses of the timolol. Okay, the timolol used in the treatment of the hypertension. Okay, timolol used in the treatment of the hypertension, and it is also used in the treatment of the migraine headache. Okay, it is also used in the treatment of the migraine headache, and it is also used in the used as eye drop for managing the glaucoma. So the clonidine and the timolol both are used in the treatment of the glaucoma. Okay, glaucoma for reducing the ocular pressure. Okay, same clonidine and this timolol is used in the treatment of the migraine headache. Okay, so both drugs are used in the treatment of the migraine as well as in the treatment of the hypertension. Okay, so the uses are very easy. Okay, so this timolol is used in the treatment of the hypertension. Okay, is used in the treatment of the migraine, and it is also used in the treatment of glaucoma. Okay, by reducing the ocular pressure. Okay, so we have done two classification here. So next is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, ACE inhibitor. Okay, so this is the third classification of the antihypertensive agent. So renin-angiotensin system is a normal system that plays a role in the control of the sodium excretion and the body fluid volume. Okay, so renin-angiotensin. Okay, renin-angiotensin is a normal system that plays in the control of, that plays in the control of the sodium excretion and the body fluid volume. Okay, for the excretion of the sodium and for body fluid volume, this renin-angiotensin system plays a vital role, and it interacts with the sympathetic nervous system and aldosterone secretion in the regulation of the blood pressure. Okay, so this interacts with the sympathetic nervous system and aldosterone secretion in the regulation of the blood pressure. So the renin-angiotensin system is a normal system that plays a role in the control of the sodium excretion and the body fluid volume. It interacts with the sympathetic nervous system and aldosterone secretion in the regulation of the blood pressure. Renin is aspartase protease enzyme. Okay, so here we have to know what is renin. Renin is aspartase protease enzyme that is secreted from the kidney. So renin is a enzyme that is secreted from the kidney due to internal stimuli. Okay, due to some internal stimuli, the renin is secreted in the kidney, and this renin is an enzyme. It's known as aspartase protease enzyme. Renin is aspartase protease enzyme that is secreted inside the kidney due to some internal stimuli. When there is a fall in BP, okay, when there is a fall in BP and when there is a fall in BP and the sodium level, okay, in the kidney, and the sympathetic nervous system stimulate secondary to fall is the blood pressure occurs. Okay, so the renin is an aspartase protease enzyme. Okay, aspartase protease enzyme that is secreted from the kidney due to internal stimuli. Okay, so when this renin is secreted, what is the stimuli? So that is the thing I am explaining now. When there is a fall in BP, okay, when the BP is low and the sodium level is low, okay, in the kidney, okay, when the BP and the sodium level is low in the kidney, at that time sympathetic nervous system, okay, sympathetic nervous system, okay, stimulate secondary to fall in blood pressure occurs. Okay, that stimulates this renin, and that reduces the blood pressure. Okay, so this is the stimuli that secrete the renin inside the kidney, and this renin converts this angiotensin to angiotensin 1. Okay, this renin is the enzyme that converts the angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1, and this angiotensin 1 is known as decapeptide. Okay, decapeptide, and this is in turn, okay, this is converted into angiotensin 2 in the presence of angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, so this renin converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. After that, this angiotensin 1 is converted to the angiotensin 2 in the presence of angiotensin converting enzyme, that is ACE. This is the normal thing that happens inside our body. Okay, and this angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor. Okay, constrictor. Okay, potent vasoconstrictor. Okay, what is the potent vasoconstrictor? Oh, so when the vasoconstriction happens, at that time the blood pressure will increases. Okay, and as well as it stimulate adrenal gland to produce the aldosterone. okay, to produce the aldosterone. So the aldosterone and this vasoconstriction, aldosterone is also cause the hypertension, okay, and aldosterone is also cause the hypertension. And this vasoconstriction, due to the vasoconstriction also there is a chance of, or there must be increase the blood pressure, okay. So renin is an enzyme, okay, renin is an enzyme, aspartase protease enzyme, and that secrete from the water, that's secreted from the kidney due to some stimuli. When there is a fall in the blood pressure and the sodium level in the kidney, the sympathetic nervous system stimulate secondary, okay, stimulate second, wait a second, stimulate secondary to fall in the blood pressure occur, okay. And this renin converts the angiotensinogen, okay, converts the angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1, okay. Angiotensin 1 is known as decapeptide, okay, decapeptide. And this angiotensin 1 is converted into the angiotensin 2 in the presence of the angiotensin converting enzyme, that is known as ACE. And the third classification is ACE inhibitor, okay. When the angiotensin 2 means when this angiotensin 1 is converted to the angiotensin, this angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor, okay. And the potent vasoconstriction, obviously the blood pressure will increases, and that stimulate the adrenal gland to produce the aldosterone. And this aldosterone increases the blood volume, increases the sodium and water retention, okay, water retention. So this angiotensin 2, what they do, this angiotensin 2 is the potent vasoconstrictor. So when the vasoconstrictor means that increases the blood pressure, okay. And it also stimulate the adrenal gland to produce the aldosterone, okay. When the aldosterone produces, what happens, this aldosterone increases the blood volume, increases the sodium and the water retention, and the net result in the increase in the blood pressure, okay. So the angiotensin 2 is responsible for the hypertension, because this angiotensin 2 release or stimulate the release of the aldosterone. The aldosterone, when the aldosterone releases inside the body, so what happens, that increases the blood volume, okay, that increases the blood volume and increases the sodium and the water retention, and that net result in the increase in the blood pressure, okay. And this is this angiotensin 2 is the potent vasoconstrictor. Vasoconstrictor means that obviously increases the blood pressure. And the compound which block the ACE or bind to the angiotensin 2 receptor are more effective antihypertensive agent, okay. So the compound that blocks the conversion of the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, that is known as ACE inhibitor, okay. Or that bind, the drug that bind to the angiotensin 2 receptor is most effective antihypertensive agent, because it prevent the formation of the angiotensin 2 and aldosterone, okay. So when the drug that bind to the angiotensin 2 receptor, at that time that prevent, when that drug bind to that side 2 receptor, at that time that prevent the formation of the angiotensin 2 and the aldosterone, and thereby decrease the elevated blood pressure, decreases the elevated blood pressure. So this is the ACE inhibitors mechanism of action. So I have drawn a chart here. So reduced BP and the low sodium excretion, that is responsible for the renin release in the kidney. When the renin releases, this angiotensinogen is converted to the angiotensin 1, that is the decapeptide. Okay, in the presence of ACE, angiotensin converting enzyme, this angiotensin 1 or the decapeptide is converted into the octapeptide, or we can say angiotensin 2. So this angiotensin 2 is the responsible for the elevated blood pressure. Okay, so this angiotensin is a potent vasoconstrictor. Okay, so when the potent vasoconstrictor means that increases the blood pressure, and also this angiotensin 2 also stimulate the release of the aldosterone. Okay, that increase the so this okay, this angiotensin 2 increases or um, stimulate the release of the aldosterone, and when this aldosterone released inside the body, so what happens, that increases the sodium water retention, and that results in the increased BP. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of this angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. Okay, so let's see the SAR of this angiotensin. So angiotensin converting enzyme is a zinc containing glycoprotein. So the SAR of the angiotensin converting enzyme we will see in the next class. So we have to first learn this uh, the mechanism of action of this angiotensin converting enzyme. So the renin angiotensin system is a normal system that plays a role in the control of the sodium excretion and the body fluid volume, and it interacts with the sympathetic nervous system and aldosterone secretion in the regulation of the blood pressure. Okay, and this renin is an enzyme that is secreted in the kidney due to some stimuli. Okay, when the blood pressure lowers and the sodium excretion is lowers. Okay, at that time, that is the stimuli. At that time, this renin is released or the secreted inside the kidney, and this renin is responsible for the conversion of the angiotensinogen to the angiotensin 1, that is known as decapeptide. Okay, and this angiotensin 1 is converted into the angiotensin 2 in the presence of the angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, and this angiotensin 2 is known as octapeptide. Okay, and this angiotensin 2 is responsible for the vasoconstrictor, means this angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor. Okay, so potent vasoconstrictor that results in the increase or elevated blood pressure. Okay, and this angiotensin 2 is also stimulate the adrenal gland. Okay, that stimulate the adrenal gland that produce the aldosterone. When the aldosterone produced inside the body, so what happened, the blood volume increases, the sodium and the water retention also increases, and the net effect is the increase in the blood pressure. Okay, so the compound that blocks the ACE inhibitor, okay, enzyme, okay, ACE inhibitor, sorry, that blocks the angiotensin converting enzyme is known as ACE inhibitor. Okay, or the compound that bind to the angiotensin 2 receptor, that is most effective in the antihypertensive agent. Okay, because that prevent the function of the angiotensin 2, and we want only that. Okay, because this angiotensin 2 is responsible for the hypertension, and we want to prevent the formation of the angiotensin, and when the formation of this angiotensin 2 inhibitor, obviously the action and the function of this 2 decreases. Okay, and the aldosterone is also decreases. Why? There is no angiotensin 2 that stimulate the adrenal gland to produce this aldosterone. So aldosterone formation or release is also decreases, and the elevated blood pressure is decreases. So this is all about till here. We will do the next topic in our next class. So let's see some MCQs regarding this topic. So first question, the type of the ring system found in the methyl dopa. So the correct answer is benzene ring. And the example of the drug that is class of alpha 2 adrenergic agonist. Okay, so that is the methyl dopa. And we have learned the alpha 2 adrenergic antagonist, that is the clonidine.
The optometrist diagnoses the patient with the glaucoma. Which of the following drug is commonly used in the topical treatment of the glaucoma? So we have done with this drug timolol. Okay, timolol is the drug that the doctor is prescribing to the patient that is suffering from the glaucoma. Impotence is the most commonly caused by the which antihypertensive agent. So beta blocker is that drug that that causes the impotence. So this is all about this chapter, or this we have done the alpha 2 adrenergic blockers, beta adrenergic blockers, and the AC inhibitor. In the AC inhibitor we have done till the mechanism of action only. So in the tomorrow's class we will learn the SAR of the this AC inhibitor drugs. So I hope everybody understood it very well. So thank you.